Yesterday, officials confirmed all 5 on board the missing submersible were killed in a catastrophic implosion as they tried to tour the wreckage of the Titanic.
Rescuers had to deal with a number of terrible circumstances as soon as it was discovered that a submarine trying to reach the Titanic wreck was gone. Could the 5 individuals on board be stranded at the bottom of the ocean with no choice but to wait as their oxygen supply depletes? Or perhaps there had been a disastrous accident that rendered all hope of their being saved futile. The U.S. Coast Guard in Boston convened a news conference to confirm a tragic truth after days of futile searching. There was evidence of the sub's implosion and the deaths of everybody aboard in the form of several pieces of debris discovered on the ocean floor. Many people are wondering why the Titan, the ship in question, was there in the first place as investigators attempt to determine what went wrong. In spite of warnings about safety issues, the experimental sub's owner continued to take tourists to the North Atlantic steppes. The Titanic disaster more than a century ago gave the maritime industry a wake-up call. If another catastrophe occurs, the question that needs to be answered is whether or not lessons will be learnt. The valiant effort to locate the missing submersible. On June 18, at 1 hour and 45 minutes into its dive, the Titan lost touch with its mother spacecraft, the Polar Prince. However, it would be another 8 hours before the United States Coast Guard received a report of its loss for unknown reasons. It didn't take long to launch a global search effort, with US and Canadian aircraft sent to fly over the region and drop sonar buoys into the water below. From the beginning, rescuers encountered incredibly difficult obstacles. Nearly 4 kilometers below the surface, the Titanic wreck is situated in a far-off region of the ocean, hundreds of kilometers from the coasts of both the US and Canada. David Market, a veteran Navy submarine captain, explained that it was extremely chilly and dark. "It's an Empire State Building of lead sitting on top of you," the man said. "The pressure is 380 times what we feel here. In those kinds of conditions, few boats are able to survive." The use of cameras-equipped remotely operated vehicles ROVs that could be deployed far beneath the surface of the ocean was prioritized as a means of supplying crews on the surface with visibility. Following the discovery of underwater noises in the search region just days into the search, many dared to hold out hope that there could be indications of life. 2 US media sites quoted internal government documents that called the noises banging. It sparked wild speculation that there may have been survivors within the ship calling out for assistance. Discussions regarding any potential rescue took place against the backdrop of a bleak countdown because estimates indicate that the sub had 96 hours worth of breathing oxygen when it began its trip. Later, the Coast Guard claimed that there was no connection between the noises. The San Juan, an Argentine submarine that went missing and is now assumed to have imploded, was being searched for in 2017, when the same occurrence happened. Rescuers once more believed they had picked up distress signals from the crew of the submarine, but they eventually realized the sounds could have come from the ocean or aquatic life. The Wall Street Journal reports that a top-secret military technology detected what may have been the implosion shortly after the sub vanished, despite the fact that authorities are unable to specify the exact time the Titan is thought to have gone missing. According to rescue specialist David Mearns of Sky News, the only good thing about that is that it would have happened right away. The men would not have known what was going on literally in milliseconds. The passengers. The drama evolved into a social media discussion on the foolishness of the super-rich on dry land. However, for the 5 people on board the submersible's loved ones, every minute of the previous week has passed in a horrifying nightmare. Families feared that the 5 men were confined to a boat in the Atlantic Ocean that they would be unable to escape from on their own without outside assistance until their fate was known. 61-year-old Stockton Rush, CEO of OceanGate, charged his 4 passengers $250,000 for a trip to the ocean's bottom. A businessman from one of the wealthiest families in Pakistan, Shahzada Dawood, as well as his son Suleiman, 19, accompanied him on board. Suleiman's aunt Asmeda Wood told NBC News that her nephew wasn't very up for the journey and felt terrified about the trip, but was keen to please his father. Paul Henry Nargeolet, a former diver for the French Navy who was known as Mr. Titanic due to his frequent trips to the shipwreck, was also on board. The fifth passenger was British explorer Hamish Harding, 58, who operated a private jet dealership out of Dubai. He made several trips to the South Pole and is the holder of 3 Guinness World Records, one of which is for the greatest period of time spent at the deepest point of an ocean. According to Harding, he was realistic about the risks he was incurring with his life when planning his trip to the Mariana Trench in 2021. The only issue, he remarked at the time, is that no other sub is capable of diving there to save you. You are not returning if something goes wrong. Janet Mickelson, a personal friend of Harding's, expressed her displeasure that the expedition was being branded as a UK billionaire going for a sightseeing trip to the Titanic. She stated that excursions might also be used for scientific study. She stated, "These kinds of expeditions are very expensive, and we need people like Hamish who can pay for such an expedition and sponsor it, while also taking the risk of participating in such an expedition with his expertise." The reason why wealthy travelers spend a lot of money to view the Titanic, the luxurious passenger ship, continues to hold the public's attention more than a century after it sank to the bottom of the ocean. The British ship, which bore the Titan's name in Greek mythology, hit an iceberg on April 15, 1912, sunk, and 1,500 people were on board. Countless novels, movies, podcasts, and documentaries have been produced as a result of the maritime disaster, which has served as a cultural landmark for years. However, only a select few people have the resources, the willingness to take risks, and the insider information necessary to join a deep-sea expedition to the disaster site. After 2 successful excursions in 2021 and 2022, OceanGate started offering tours of the ruins, which are an intense type of travel that is not for the weak of heart. Clients were urged to partake in an 8-day once-in-a-lifetime event as part of the company's marketing strategy, which included exclusivity. Fewer than 200 people are thought to have actually seen the wreck, according to the company, though an exact figure is difficult to determine. This is a much smaller number than those who have traveled to space or scaled Mount Everest. The owner of Tar Inc., a public relations company that specializes in special events, Nick D'Annunzio, told CNN that he has observed that for the ultra-rich, money is no object when it comes to experiences. However, there are detractors of shipwreck tourism as well. An enthusiast and the president of the Titanic Historical Society, Ed Kamuda, told the Associated Press in 2003 that there should be restrictions on human activities near the ruins. He argued that the location should just serve as a straightforward maritime memorial. In the past, scientists have also expressed concern that people were loving the Titanic to death when visiting. Participants in professional expeditions who went in 2003 informed the New York Times that the area around the retrieval site was covered in cargo nets and chains, as well as beer and soda bottles. In better times, Stockton Rush would proudly welcome people to board the Titan and take a look at or even plunge into his innovative ship. Last year, CBS reporter David Pogue detailed his journey on the submarine. He read the waiver he had signed before the trip. An experimental submersible vessel, which has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body, and could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, or death. Mr. Rush displayed features that seemed to surprise the journalist, such as off-the-shelf parts, camper world lights, and a game controller used to operate the Titan. A previous attempt to reach the Titanic was allegedly abandoned after the sub became lost for 2.5 hours. Several reports of safety issues related to OceanGate that were previously mentioned have surfaced in the days following the sub's disappearance. according to information that has come to light. A former worker claimed he was fired for raising concerns about testing. He and OceanGate each filed a lawsuit, and the case was eventually resolved on secretive terms. A group of ocean engineers, technicians, policymakers, and educators known as Marine Technology Society is also said to have expressed concerns about OceanGate's experimental approach in a letter that was sent in 2018. In addition, it has been questioned as to why the Titan wasn't certified or classified. And that's everything we know so far about the Titan sub-tragedy. Please subscribe to Weather Collapse if you want to know more and be updated on the latest news about natural calamities or disasters happening all over the world. And don't forget to like today's video. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.